Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, do you believe that Bitcoin is set to double in 15 days? Well, if you don't, I will tell you why. Why it's possible. And why Bitcoin is set to move in a big way shortly. So, let's talk about this. Let's talk about alts as well. I got several alts to discuss. So, good ones too. So let's talk about all these things and more. Welcome, guys. Bitcoin is still sitting around $65,000. Today, the U.S. market is closed. So, actually no added pressure. Obviously, the ETFs didn't sell today, right? So we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But this is kind of interesting. I'll lead off with this. This is why Bitcoin is set to double possibly in 15 days. The last time the stock market, the US stock market, went up in a big way, yet Bitcoin went down, as happened before. Last time it did this was around $40,000, okay? You could see the blue. You could see how the stock market just went up and up and up and up and really never stopped. But then around that time frame, around January of this year, Bitcoin did fall from like 46,000 all the way down to like 38,000, something like that, right? It took about 15 days. And guess what happened? Bitcoin did a reversal and went up 80%. 80% afterwards. So, if you look at what's happening right now, it's kind of the same thing. The stock market is going up. Bitcoin has been going down, right? It's been about 15 days. Are we going to see that huge, tremendous pump right afterwards? I guess we'll see. History doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And if it happens, it'll be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If it doesn't happen, oh well. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer. But we know that Bitcoin has gone sideways for 3 months now. And you know what? It's just a matter of time before we double or triple. We will continue this journey, right? This is kind of interesting. Since 2013 till now, well, this only goes up to 2021, so I don't know about now, right? But I found this to be interesting. BTC Coverage of Bitcoin, and you could see besides 2 positive coverages, every other coverage has been extremely negative or neutral, but very rarely are they positive. I just found that to be, kind of interesting, right? So despite traditional media or banks or FUD from the governments or whatever, right? Bitcoin has always found a way to get through it and continues to form higher highs and higher lows, despite the best efforts from mainstream media and all these entities I've talked about, right? Bitcoin continues forward. So that's kind of like what's happening now, right? Whenever Bitcoin dips, you got a lot of scary news out there. You got a lot of bears that's talking about a lot of stuff. And of course, there's worries about, well, what if war breaks out? Or what if inflation continues to rise? What if there's no rate cuts? You got a lot of uncertainty. But the thing is, Bitcoin does not care about any of that. Bitcoin is pure, and it's just going to keep on going. The fundamentals are great. In fact, the best they've ever been, really. And ultimately, Bitcoin will go higher because there's more demand and supply is going down, right? That's really it. The exchange reserves continue to drop, even though I get conflicting data. Sometimes I hear it's like this, 3-year low, but sometimes I hear it's way more than that, 7 years low. I've seen charts that show that Bitcoin exchange reserves are down to pre-2017 levels, right? So bottom line is this. Supply and demand, price goes higher because, why? Demand is higher than the supply. And we know that supply is definitely going down. Not only is there a set supply, the inflation got cut in half, and more is being removed from circulation. So supply is definitely going down. And demand, well, that's not going to stop. 8 billion people on this planet, do they all hold Bitcoin? No, they do not. They do not at all, right? Until that happens, demand is going to keep on increasing. And in case I didn't convince you about the doubling in 15 days, well, here's something else that's interesting. All right, if you look at Bitcoin's price after halving in 2020, right? 2020 still to me was not that long ago. Maybe for some of you guys was very long because you haven't been around since 2020. But for a lot of us OGs, 2020 was, you know, not that far ago. Anyways, for 150 days. So think about it. That's almost half a year. Bitcoin couldn't break 11,000. It was stuck right around the 10,000 range. And then what happened afterwards? Well, then we shot up and kept going, okay? In 2021, we hit a peak of 69,000. But for basically 6 months, Bitcoin did not move. And a lot of people gave up hope that Bitcoin will ever hit an all-time high. The previous high was 20,000. So think about it. Even in 2020, for 6 months straight, we were just holding and holding and holding and holding, right? So, I mean, just think about what's been happening now. Yeah, we're going sideways, right? There's a little volatility, a little FUD out there, but we're at $65,000. We're not at $10,000. There's a big difference there, right? And just look at, you know, if you look at a really bottom left-hand corner, the black is where we are. Look at all the previous cycles. Look at where we are versus the previous cycles, right? Like after the halving event, what happens afterwards? So are you telling me that you want to miss out on those juicy gains that's coming right around the corner? I would say everyone is saying no, right? So again, just have to have some patience, continue to hold on DCA, and let the wealth come to you. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if. And maybe we go a little bit longer. Maybe we do have to wait 150 days. Maybe it's not 2 weeks. Maybe we got to wait another 90 days, another 3 months until we hit August, September, October. Well, so what? So what? Last time we had to wait 150 days, Bitcoin went up 7x. This time, can we do another 7x? Can we do a 6x or even a 5x? Even a 5x from our current levels put Bitcoin in a 300,000 plus range, right? So why wouldn't you want to wait? So another graph that's showing, yeah, where Bitcoin is going to go. And guess what? That 300,000 range, that's what it looks like. It's the next top, right? And we're at that cusp of making that next leg up. So again, it's just a matter of having some patience and waiting for the gains to come, right? That's really, really it. And the last thing I'll say about Bitcoin is this. You know, look at all the billionaires. This is a list of 40 billionaires, and I'm sure there's more in the world that own Bitcoin. And the list is growing, right? It seems to grow every single day. You're hearing about companies doing it, buying Bitcoin. You're hearing about pension funds and family offices and all these big boys are entering. But, you know, individually, billionaires are also loading up. Again, supply and demand. Supply is definitely going down. When these guys are buying Bitcoin, they're not just buying a single Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or even 100 Bitcoin. They're buying by thousands and tens of thousands at a time. So think about that. All right, outside of Bitcoin, what else is there? I mentioned about alts. There are a lot of alts out there. Some have struggled quite a lot recently, but there are a lot of good ones still worth DCAing into, right? For example, ETH. Talked a lot about ETH recently, but MVRV for altcoin season and for ETH specifically is showing that we're about to go higher. Altcoin season may be coming, right? Again, I think altcoin season, there's many facets of altcoin season, but like the next true, the major one is next year, but the next one that will carry alts once again, I think it's going to be around September. It may be a little bit sooner than that, but I think the next one is. We had a terrific altcoin season, mini altcoin season between like I would say February and March of this year. I think we're going to see another one probably August, September of this year, right? But this indicator is showing that, yeah, altcoin season is around the corner, right? But besides ETH, there are many other great projects out there. Avalanche is an example of one. Avalanche has fully embraced games. Even though games are not that hot right now, but they are like really entrenched in games, right? But overall, it's not just games, just creating subnets and creating useful chains for dApps to thrive on. But this one is interesting. This is showing the number of return users, right? And, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of users, new users every single month. And it shows you kind of the retaining over the course of the month, how much they actually retain, right? And basically, you know what? It's showing it's pretty healthy. Pretty healthy. If you look at other metrics like transaction count and transaction fees, even though it has gone down a little bit, but overall it's still holding quite strong versus, you know, the peak that we had in March of this year, right? Overall still pretty darn strong. A lot of transactions, a lot of things going on in Avalanche. You got a lot of games, okay? Actually really cool looking games. Here's one, Coco D, and is on Beam, and Beam has a subnet on Avalanche. It's kind of like a, what do you call it? RPG game. So pretty cool graphics, but this is kind of one example. Here's another example of another one that's on Avalanche. Kind of like Fortnite in a way, right? So there's a lot of cool games that's on top of Avalanche. They're really becoming kind of like a gaming layer, right? Avalanche is kind of like a layer 0, and all these games have their own L1s within Avalanche. So I like Avalanche. I think they're gonna go very far and do very well in this cycle. And when games get hot, and I think they will, that's when Avalanche really takes off. But outside of Avalanche, what else is there? Injective, right? Injective has been doing one of the best performers of last year, and same with the first half of this, or the first quarter of this year. Then they became a little weaker, but they're coming back up. Okay, they're doing a lot of things too. They're getting involved with gaming as well. Okay, but not only that, you know, 22,000 downloads on their SDK, which means that there are a lot of dApp builders that's coming on top of Injective. On-chain transactions continuing to be high and going upwards. So all great things. Injective 3 also increasing in burning, trying to make everything deflationary, right? So Injective is another one of those L1s that I think will do pretty well going forward, right? Again, they were one of the best performing chains in 2023, and they had a terrific first quarter of 2024. But you know, when that mini altcoin season hits again, maybe in August, September, they could catch on fire once again too. And then lastly, of course, one of my favorites, Solana. Solana has just so many things going on. But here's a new project, TapLink, which allows you to send SOL globally anywhere to anyone without even needing a wallet. All you need is an email. That's kind of interesting. Sending crypto via email. It seems so simple, but kind of shows you there's a lot of cool innovations happening in the space. Solana definitely leading the way as a major chain that's supporting a lot of these dApps. Phantom also is not a dApp, but Phantom is one of the biggest SOL wallet out there, and they're just a terrific wallet all around. They support Bitcoin, they support ETH, they support Solana. When they've been adding a lot of the dApps into them. Like for example, they added Jitto, so you could liquid stake directly from Phantom, which is awesome. Now they're introducing charts within Phantom, so this wallet is getting built, and the better it is for the entire Solana ecosystem, right? And of course, you got to talk about the memes when it comes to Solana. You still have like Whiff and Bonk and all these other ones that are still quite large on top of SOL. And I think they will continue to carry Solana to greater heights when we get that mini altcoin season once again, right? So Solana, definitely don't want to miss it. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's do some DCA now. Today is Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Wednesday, yes, that's right. So I got my DCA portfolio pulled up here. Let me just refresh, make sure it's not logged out. Overall, still, despite having a couple rough weeks for alts, overall still up about 55%. Although I will say that's down about half since March, I would say. Back in March, it's about up 100%. But you know what? Still, shows you that, hey, if you continue to DCA, ignore the volatility, don't try to outsmart the market, just continue to hold on DCA, it's going to work out. I've been adding to this portfolio since 2021, riding all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, and now back up again, right? Still up 55%. All right, so what should I add this week? So many are down this week. It's actually quite hard, but I do know that, like, for example, Polygon all-time is still very weak. Cardano very weak. These two have been struggling, and same thing with Cosmos. Arbitrum and Sui, also taking a beating now. Say a lot of these are taking beatings now, turning red. Even Pepe and Cock and Render. Man, a lot of these have turned really, really red. What's a good way of sorting this? I guess let's see. Let's take a look at the last 7 days in terms of the losers. Well, I just covered Injective. Injective is a good candidate for DCAing. 32% down, but I believe in my portfolio, Injective is still quite high here. No, it just barely went into the red, so I think they could be a good candidate. What else is there? Looking at the biggest losers for the last week, Stacks is in there. Interesting. You got Bonk and Ordi. Rose is the L1. Celestia, Arweave. You got more memes. Near Protocol, kind of a L1 in the AI space, down 20%. That could be a good candidate. Jupiter down 19%. Could be a good candidate. And then Immutable and Avalanche. Just talked about Avalanche down 17%, 18%. There are a lot of good candidates. Do I have Immutable? I know I got an Avalanche. Where's Avalanche? Avalanche, I'm still up 70%, so I don't think I need to add to that. Immutable, Well, Jupiter is still up in the green. Okay, so don't need to add that. Immutable still up in the green, 22%. Don't need to add that. So they are still doing good. I think Injective could be a good one. You got something like Render down 15%. Render could be a good candidate. Do I have Render? Render down 15% here. Pith Network taking a beating. Flux taking a beating. Down 63%. I don't know what's going on with Flux. Let's see. I don't really want to add any Cardano Polygon. I think I'm going to add some Injective. And I'm going to add some Render. And probably add some... I don't know. Maybe Fetch? Because I'm really curious what happens when... No, maybe Stacks. Because Stacks is having such a bad week. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a 3-way ad here. So what did I say? I was going to add Stacks. Even though it's up, but it's down tremendously for this week. So let's add to that. $33 divided 1.648. So let's do 20.02 stacks. Oh shoot, I got logged out. Hold on. What? Some weird security thing. All right. Back in action. So I'm going to add stacks. Yeah, I don't mind adding some near too. I'm going to add some near. 33 divided by 4.983. I got $33 left. So maybe Render. I think Render's a good play. I'll do $33. 4.3. All right. So I added Render, Near, and Stacks for this week because they sold off quite a lot. But overall, guys, continue to hodl in DCA and let the gains come to you. All right, let's do some Q&A. Brian says, how long is 15 days, George? I think you answered your own question. I missed some super chats. Let me scroll up. CryptoPunk says, I'm 0.18 from 0.1 Oh, Bitcoin? That doesn't make sense. You're 0.18 from 10 Bitcoin? Is that what you mean? I plan to deploying 25K this week. Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. In your opinion, I'm perplexed. Why are you perplexed? That's a good combination. You can't go wrong with those three. Not sure why you're perplexed. Shane says, my Fed order missed by less than a penny last night. Now up 26%. That sucks. Are you believer in pups ordinals? Ordinals? I'm not into any ordinals right now, so I can't say I am. Big A says, yesterday I literally had a stacks and render. Good for you. Gene is asking, what's your price prediction for Bitcoin in July of 2024? I don't know. The 15 days, the 15-day pattern holds true. Well, we'll be at like 100,000 plus in July. You know, I originally made that prediction back in like February. I said it would not surprise me by the end of July, we could have 100,000 Bitcoin. Right now, it seems like that's impossible, right? But I like to remind you guys, just 2 weeks ago, we were still at 72,000. And if we could break through that 73,000, there are a whole bunch of shorts waiting to be liquidated. So once we break through, we'll hit 80 and 90 in no time, and 100,000 could be right around the corner. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It may seem like that can't be the case, but we have seen periods where Bitcoin just starts going nuts. Townsley, can Fetch AI reach top 15? Well, after the merger, there could be a chance. You know, if AI continues to be hot and they come up with some crazy developments, there could be a chance. If Bitcoin goes 5x, how high could Sol go? If Bitcoin goes 5x and Sol could do like, I don't know, at least 10x, 15x maybe. CryptoPunk, my question was, I'm 018 from having 10 Bitcoin. Should I deploy 25K into Bitcoin or ETH or Sol? I only have 100 Sol and 0 ETH. I'm not going to answer that, man. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you how to build your portfolio. I did say that all three are great. So you have to decide how to deploy your capital. James Bruce, if you had to pick only 3 charts indicators to use forever, what are they? I don't know. Indicator's easy. You gotta use the 3 I use: RSI, stochastic, and MACD. Those are like basic indicators, but when combined, pretty good. Pretty good. No indicator can ever be 100%. When whales are pumping and dumping, you know, the indicators doesn't mean anything, right? Markets will be moved regardless, but those 3 in a normal environment do pretty well. Captain Tech asked George, Pepe, Floki, or Whiff if you had to choose one. If I had to choose one and I couldn't sell for an entire bull market, I would choose probably Pepe at this point. I mean, on Soul Pups, the meme, give me your thoughts. I have no thoughts. I have no thoughts about them. Hopefully, they can pick themselves back up. But at this point, I really have no thoughts. Polkadot, rise or fall? I think over time it's going to fall. It's going to fall more. I just don't see a lot being done on Polkadot versus the other chains out there. Troy McDrain says, the depression on the way will melt something. Mostly your wallets. Be careful and prepare. I don't know what you're talking about. What depression? What depression are you talking about? Man, I am tired. Ryan is asking about Aerodrome Finance and Base Chain. I don't think Aerodrome is necessary at all because all Base memes and projects are traded on Uniswap. So I actually don't know why Aerodrome is necessary. But Base overall is doing very good. The recession, this recession will become a depression once the dollar hyperinflates. That's depression. Well, if the dollar hyperinflates, it's awesome for all of us. You realize if the dollar hyperinflates, that means Bitcoin will be at 300,000 and ETH will be at like 15,000 and Sol will be at like 2,000-3,000. That's good for crypto holders. Inflation helps asset holders. Inflation does not help fiat holders. If you're holding a lot of fiat, that's when you get robbed. But if you have a lot of assets like Bitcoin, inflation is great. Ricky, what is your price prediction for Fetch AI this year? Also, what is Stacks and how high can Stacks go? Stacks is a programmable layer 2 for Bitcoin. So it's another layer that enables smart contracts. And I can't tell you about Fetch because I don't even know what it's going to be like after it converts to ASI. But I think AI is going to continue to be hot for many, many, many years to come. I mean, just look at NVIDIA stock, right? Even though it's closed today, NVIDIA is now the most valuable company in the world. It's number one in terms of market cap, and that's not going to stop. AI is just going to get bigger and smarter and more useful. And, you know, as long as the crypto projects continue to build and make really cool applications or dApps with them, with AI, then possibilities are endless. Isa is asking, what do you think about ADA for the next few months, and what about the news about the problem that Cardano faced? I don't know what news you're talking about. ADA will probably be fine the next few months, probably more sideways movement. Why is Yuga Labs lagging and falling so hard? You know, I also have that question. I mean, NFTs, just no one cares about NFTs this cycle. Everyone is looking at memes and creating their own token, and even celebrities are doing it. Back in the last cycle, all the celebrities and everyone was coming out with their own collection, which is complicated and costly. Now, people are launching memes for next to nothing. So Yuga Labs is very, 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 I think, hurt by that trend change because they were leading the way with Bored Apes, and they bought CryptoPunks, they bought a whole bunch of others, and they're all like 95% off now. Depression is paying tax on fireworks to celebrate freedom from paying taxes. Fireworks are fun. Big A says, I own a Bentley Flying Spur with W12, one of the best cars I've ever owned. Only issue was engine needed to come out to replace seals and vacuum hose. Other than that, no issue, solid car. Well, that's great, but that engine out procedure probably cost $10,000, if not more, right? So who wants to pay for that? And it's a Bentley. It's supposed to be good, right? It's supposed to be high quality and the best. Carlos, not the biggest fan of Quant. Nothing against them, but they're more of a B2B play for businesses, not really for retail. So that's why I don't really have much interest in them. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. Overall, are we going to see a doubling of Bitcoin in 15 days? Well, it happened earlier this year. Does that mean it's going to happen again? Maybe. Or maybe not. If it doesn't, you know what? Just wait a little bit longer. We're at the cusp of a big move. We just have to be patient. Maybe we have to wait a few more days, or a few more weeks, or a few more months. But it's a matter of when, not if at this point. And we are going to go a lot higher. So stay strong, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time as usual, 8:30 a.m. The market will be open. Let's see what effect it's going to have. Have a good one, guys. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.